Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk about the animal abuse crisis in China. Where do I even begin? You know what? I don't really want to talk about this kind of negative stuff all the time. It's depressing, it's honestly draining for your mental health, but sometimes you reach a point where you just can't look the other way anymore. And to be honest, this situation makes me absolutely furious. I always consider myself a peaceful person. Like, I never got into a single fight growing up. But seeing things like this, seeing, how these people act, it honestly makes you want to become an eco-fascist. Anyway, for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, let me catch you up on an incident that happened a few weeks ago. So there is this pet influencer in China. He has over 1.5 million subscribers, and he's famous for traveling everywhere with his border collie, Chuto. Now, Chuto is 9 years old, so the owner felt he was getting too old for the brutal travel schedule. Plus, he had to go somewhere where he couldn't bring the dog alone, so he decided to send Chuto to his father's place in the countryside to be looked after. The dad lived out in a rural area of Henan province. Now, in my opinion, that was his first massive mistake. Look, dogs and cats are incredibly popular in major Chinese cities. A ton of people, including myself, are pet owners. Because of that, city people generally care a lot about animal welfare. It's super rare to see a dog meat restaurant anywhere near a major city center. Now, I'm not saying dog eating has vanished completely. If you go out to the suburban French where the city blends into rural village, you will still find some, deeply disgusting things there. But you need to understand the context here, even if it sounds a little bit stereotypical. So Henan province historically suffered from severe famine and extreme bottom of the barrel poverty for generations. People there were forced into pure survival mode. It bred this reputation for scammers, frauds, and thieves who will steal anything, your wallet, your kids, down to the literal manhole cover on the street. It was a dog-eat-dog mentality. People have to, fight Mad Max style just for a bowl of rice, maybe. Today, nobody is starving, but that scarcity mindset, it hasn't just disappeared overnight. It lingers. If I were the owner and I truly view my dog as a member of the family, I would have thought twice before sending him into a rural environment with that kind of history. And look at what happened. The father was looking after Tuto, but he left the dog unattended next to his scooter while he went to work out in the crop field. While the dog was alone, a young couple rode up on another scooter. They saw an opportunity, and then they decided to steal him. The woman intentionally blocked the security camera with her body, while the man grabbed the dog and sped off, completely unnoticed. From what I understand, the father eventually realized Tula was gone, but he was terrified to tell his son. He sat on the secret for a few days until the son finally found out on his own. By then, it was already too late. The owner managed to track down the couple who stole a Chuto. At first, they lied straight to his face, denied everything until he put out the surveillance footage. But even after being caught red-headed, they completely refused to apologize. To an outside audience, that kind of shamelessness sounds completely absurd, but to this rural villager who have spent their entire life in the countryside, a dog isn't a pet. It's a lifestyle. It's a commodity. It's a cheap food source, legally valued at less than 200 RMB. That's only about 28 to 30 US dollars. The entire confrontation play out like haggling in a flea market. In this environment, people only back down if you show absolute rage. The thief tried to settle it right there and then. They offer him 200 RMB to just go away. It was a disgusting, deeply humiliating insult to the owner. So how do people get away with being this shameless? Because they know the law is completely on their side. There are zero animal cruelty law in place to punish someone for stealing, abusing, or eating a dog. It is strictly the law of the jungle out there. You can appeal to their ethics. They know that you're completely powerless to stop them unless you decide to turn into, John Wick. Because of the massive public outcry on social media, the local police department finally opened a formal criminal investigation. The thief might actually face real legal consequence now, but that only raises much darker questions. First of all, let's be clear, the only reason they were arrested is because the monetary value of what they stole crossed a specific legal line, qualifying as thief of property. When it comes to actual animal welfare, there is still no legal framework whatsoever. Trudeau only got a drop of justice because he happened to be an internet celebrity with millions of fans making noise online. Meanwhile, pets are being stolen, smuggled, and slaughtered every single day across rural China, completely under the radar. So the cost of committing these crimes is practically zero. And honestly, when you look at some of this area, the human living conditions are barely better than the animal themselves. How do you even begin to enforce modern animal rights laws in places like that? It is deeply broken, incredibly complicated problem. You can't just change your population's mindset overnight. When you confront the thief, they lie to your face and claim the dog was just a stray. When you confront the butcher, they complain to you that the dog meat was too tough and fatty to chew and grumble about losing money on the deal. And then you have the consumers who couldn't care less where the meat comes from. Every single person is a willing participant in this criminal food chain. This is just everyday life for hundreds of millions of people. How do you even begin to fix a crisis on that scale? I can only share this on social media, hoping it forces more people to open their eyes to what's happening. But you know what? The saddest part is, even on Chinese social media, this incident is still up for debate. You still have people victim blaming the owner, saying things like, well, it's your own fault for leaving the dog unleashed. Just imagine if Trudeau hadn't been a famous internet celebrity. If he were just an ordinary pet, he would legally be counted as nothing more than a piece of property. If a regular, family pet gets stolen, you have to waste your a massive amount of time, money, and emotional energy running your own private investigation. And even if you are miraculously catch a thief, the absolute best you can hope for is a tiny payout of a few thousand RMB. That's it. Case closed. So what do you think about this incident? Leave me a comment below, and I will see you in the next one. Have a nice day.